guys, Ken here, you're the Thrifty Apprentice, and welcome back to what is technically the second installment in the art kit series. Now, in all honesty, I should really be ashamed of myself because I checked the channel and the first installment of this series was done in July of 2020, and I'm not exactly sure what happened. I have no excuses, but we're going to try to get this series back on track and keep it going the way it should. In this installment, we are looking at the Himi Solid Watercolor Square Watercolor Kit. Now, of course, Himi is made by the Miya company, and you may be familiar with the name from the all too popular Miya Himi Jelly Gouache. We actually reviewed that set on the channel. If you want to, you can go back and check out the review. I really like that gouache. It is a really great product. And when giving thought to doing this video, I was searching around Amazon and ran across this watercolor kit, which carries the same line named Himi by the Miya company. So I said, let's give it a try. So I ordered it off Amazon. It arrived just earlier today, and it comes in this clear plastic box or container, should I say. You can see through it, of course, and it does say Solid Watercolor Himi White Case 36 color set square watercolor kit. One square watercolor, one painting brush, one watercolor pad, 2 drawing pencils, HB and a 2B, 1 fountain pen, 1 pigment liner, 1 drawing eraser, and 1 desktop bucket, whatever that may be. Flipping that over on the back, it looks like printed on the actual clear. So this is the box, okay. So it says Himi. It gives you color swatching. It does give you all the names for each of the colors. 36 color set. Let's see, it tells you again what's included. Bright colors, easy to use, good diffusivity, safe and non-toxic. Let's see, Miya Stationery Company. It gives you the address. It's in China, of course. Gives you the website, miyaarts.com, and a telephone number, UPC code, shelf life 5 years, made in China, conforms to ASTM D4236 regulation. So that is what the little container, let's pop it open here. Let's see what we got. I'm excited about this one. The gouache was a really good thing, and although I know this is a budget brand product, I was really curious to see what it would be like. So let's see if we can pull the contents out here. Have just this little plastic insert, and we will sit that to the side. That's what that looks like. That information was actually printed on the clear container. All right, we have watercolor paper. It says 100%, so in Chinese writing here, 100% wood pulp is what it says. Watercolor pad, 300. Gee, so this is 140-pound cold press. There's 20 pieces, and it is acid free. Let's see. Original paint watercolor pad. It's just basically repeating the same information. Miya Stationery Company gives you the same information as the back of the box did. Yep, so that is the paper. There is a sticker, I guess. I guess that's a sticker. Yeah. So this is probably something that is targeted towards kids. That's just a little, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that because I can use, ooh, that'll be nice on a card. That'll be really nice on a card. So, let's see here. Then we have a box containing, yeah, and this is probably gonna be a pretty long video, guys. So just beware. So we got some goodies here. We have a Himi paintbrush that looks to be about, I don't know, a number 4 round, synthetic probably. There's an eraser. Here we have a 2B pencil. It is capped on the end. Does look to be centered though. So it's round, it will roll. There is a, what do we have here? This is a fine liner. This is a pigment liner, a 0.05. You guys can see that. Pretty fine point tip there. I'm assuming it's black ink. Not sure if that is waterproof. We'll have to check to see. And we're going to be using all of these. Well, maybe just one of the pencils. This is a HB, again, domed. Does look to be centered. Now, these have UPC codes on it, so I'm assuming you can purchase these open stock, the pencils. Maybe in China. I'm not sure if you can find them in the US. And then, of course, we have a water brush here. Oh, it's a really tiny one. That's a fine point. That's about maybe a number 2 round brush there. Aqua barrel. Look like it does have that little gauge that helps the water drip slowly. Yeah, pretty standard. Have a lot of these. All right, let's set that to the side and take a look at, I'm assuming, the actual watercolor paints at this point. Let's see. This is wrapped in a clear plastic. Let's see if I can get it open without grabbing any scissors. Well, probably not. Let's see here if I can. All right. Open this on up. Well, on the back of the plastic, there is a little color swatch sheet, and it does tell you all of the information that the box did. It says product features, bright colors, easy to use, same information. Yep, so there is a little color swatch sticker. Now, I'm going to hang on to that part, so let's not tear that. That may come in handy. Let's see here. We have a swatching card for the solid watercolors. It looks to be like it's actual watercolor paper. I wonder if it's the same paper in the pad. We'll have to open the pad to see. So here we have, this is a really cute palette. I love this. Even if the watercolors turn out to be crap, it'll be nice to have. Can I say crap? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that if that's offensive to anyone. If they don't turn out to be any good. So this is really nice. I love this. It has like this comic book square type design on the front. It really appeals to me. I love illustration. So let's see if we can pop this open. It was pretty secure. It's kind of hard to open there. Let's close that back and try that again. Maybe if I pick it up. Yeah. Oh, okay. You have to kind of press in on it a little bit, guys. And then here we have our watercolors. 36 of them. Lots of mixing space in the top of that palette. That's a really nice size. It closed securely, that's for sure. Really, really nice size. You know, well, first of all, most people would just put the brush there. But just looking at this right off, these really look like superior paints. I don't know. I could be wrong. But just from first impressions looking at them, they remind me of superior paints. But we're going to swatch them on a swatch card and take a closer look at them. Let's flip that over. Yeah, that's, you get some pretty nice paint. Yeah, those pellets are pretty nice size. I would have to say that those are actually probably equivalent to the size of a standard, oh, get that open again, standard half pan. I'm not sure if I can see if we can pop one of those out. They're probably glued down. Let's see. Just get up. Yeah, that's definitely glued down in there pretty securely. But if I had to guess from, I'm just eyeballing it, I would say that's the size of a standard half pan of color, and it's 36 of them. So, all right, so let's open the paper really quickly. That way we can see what that looks like, because this is the paper we're going to be doing some projects on in this video. And like I said, buckle down, guys. This is going to be a long one. Yeah, I would say that's the same paper. So the swatch sheet is the same 140-pound cold press 100% wood pulp paper. That's pretty nice. It feels nice. It's thick. Oh, and that's a block. Oh, how nice is that, guys? Oh, okay, cool. So this looks to be about the equivalent of a 5x7 card. So what I'm going to do to test this, we're going to paint one, maybe two panels, and then I'm just going to glue those onto the piece, onto the front of a 5x7 card, ready cardstock, in order to make a couple of additional cards. So we're probably going to do some winter type things, some Christmas type things. I am shooting this in November. This is actually the day after Thanksgiving. And I need a few more Christmas cards. Plus, I want to design some more cards to sell. So I think I'm going to, I probably can't peel that sticker off without tearing it, but I'm going to cut the plastic away and then use some double-sided tape to stick that color swatch to the front of the palette here, just for extra reference as far as color name goes. All right, so I'm gonna get everything prepared so that we can do the swatching, and we will be right back. So I have finished up swatching the paints initially on the little swatch card that was included. Somewhere I must have skipped a color because I reached the end and only had 35 of the squares filled. So I probably need to re-swatch these, and I need to re-swatch them on paper that I typically use. And I'm gonna make a little swatch sheet to go inside the palette itself. I may even do it on 90-pound mixed media paper. That way I can do it in like a folding brochure style. But then I also want to lay it out so that it's like it is here. So I'm going to do that off camera really quickly, and then we'll come back and probably do a couple of paintings with the paints and test out the fine lining pen. We'll use the pencil to do some drawing. I will say initially, from just swatching on their paper, these are some really bright colors, guys. They're really saturated. I was really surprised. I would like to, I'm going to say that they definitely have optical brightness in it because, of course, when water touched the pellets, the color lightens up. It's almost like you can almost see white in some of them, but it's not too bad at all. I really think that these are superior paints. And this is just from the swatching. I could be wrong, but I really do. They really remind me of like the Doodle Hog 36 count, or like some of the fan palettes that you get, those, you know, the travel palettes that have the pans. And this is just from initial swatching. I'm not solidly set on anything that I'm saying, but this is just initially. So what I'm gonna do, like I said, is I'm gonna re-swatch the paints, and then we will come back and we will do one, maybe two Christmas cards, since, you know, that's the theme I'm leaning towards with this video. Okay, so I'm gonna go swatch and I'll be right, guys. So at this point, or up to this point, I've done quite a bit of swatching. So you remember the little speed swatching of this swatch sheet that came in the kit. I did miss a color. I'm not sure which one I missed. I'm not sure how I missed it, but I did. So I decided to go ahead and do the other normal swatch testing that I do on a regular, you know, set of watercolors that we're testing. And we're even going to get into a painting demo in just a minute, but let me show you guys what I did do. So I made my own swatch palette to go inside the palette itself. This is on that Universal Mixed Media 90-pound cold pressed paper from Jerry's Autorama. So I did swatch the paints out on a mixed media paper because I do use those on a pretty regular basis. I have a lot of this particular brand, so I will be using it for testing and paintings and what have you. You know, I won't get into what I think yet. I'm just showing you guys what all of the swatching that I did. I did go ahead and do a large swatch sheet for my normal swatch book. Now, I did not do the black line for an opacity test because they seem to be, you know, a little opaque already from just swatching them out. We'll see as we go through. I may go back and do one, but I really don't think it's necessary. But again, we'll get into that in the review, the little review section. And I also did do a little color mixing and a salt test and a flow test. So we'll get into talking about all of that. I just wanted to show you guys some of the other swatching testing that I did on the set. Let's go ahead and move into a little painting demo. So my idea here, I just want to straighten the camera up, excuse that jiggling. I'm gonna show you a little preliminary sketching that I did. I was sitting down while I was waiting on the swatches to dry. I was watching Madam Secretary. Has anybody seen that show? It is so good. We were watching Madam Secretary, and I was just kind of doodling and sketching some flowers, trying to see what I wanted to put on a Christmas card. So as I told you guys, my idea is, so this is a block, right? This is the block that came in the kit. And I did use Google Translate to translate translate some of the characters on the front of the pad. So essentially what it said was that this is an artist watercolor pad. It's 100% wood pulp, cold press, 140 pound, acid free. So it is considered an artist pad or a professional grade of paper out of China. I'm assuming it wouldn't necessarily translate this characters. It would pop on and off out of translation. I think this says Maya company, I think. It would translate one character, then it would jump to something else, and then it would say something else. So, but the one it kept referring to or going back to the most was Maya. So something of Maya company, I believe, is there. What have you. But we're going to test the paper. So let's just get into this. So I'll stop yapping. We are going to use, let's see, get that on camera. We're going to use the 2B pencil from, and I do have this little vinyl eraser as well. We're using the 2B pencil from the set, and I'm going to open this eraser, so we'll use it. So we're just going to take the eraser out so we can test that as well. And, all right, let's see. I think I'm going to do the poinsettia. I always do poinsettia every year for Christmas. It's one of my favorite flowers. Hopefully I'll do it some justice. So we only want to use the stuff that came in the kit. So I'm not going to use that water brush, but I am going to use the paint brush that came in the set. And we're going to use this black pigment liner in order to do our fine lining after we get done. I really want to put some colored pencils on it. I wish this set had came with colored pencils, but we'll see what we can do with this and evaluate it, and then I'll go back and put colored pencils on top of it if I want to afterwards. So we'll start with the flower portion of the poinsettia. Okay. That might be exaggerated. This may turn out to be stylized, but what have you. And I'm drawing darker than you should if you're following along or if you're doing this. And I'm not putting the veins in because I'm going to do that with a credit card scraper. So now that I kind of got 3 there, I'm going to go around and put, these are actually what I found out are leaves. I used to think that they were actually the flower, and I'm going to turn my work as I go. And this is, you know, it may be a bit style, more my style. Oh, didn't really mean to put that one that way, but we got it now. We're going to leave it. Just going to kind of go around putting in leaves, and later on we'll have to decide what are leaves and what are red leaves and which ones are green leaves. Okay, I think I kind of like it like that too. So now let's put some bigger leaves on there. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's take that out. We'll get the testy eraser. It's not too rough. Pretty cool there. Let's see. I don't know why I keep drawing it angle like that. And I'll put another one right here. And then one right. That's pretty. And then we're going to stamp Merry Christmas there across the bottom. Let's clean it up a little bit more. I'm trying to see if I want to put anything else in it. I really love the fact that this is a block, so I don't have to tape anything down. The card can be painted all the way to the very end. I do believe this is 5x7. It didn't translate that part. I'm gonna have to put that in a transparency, but I think we're gonna put Merry Christmas down here. And do I want to put this on? Make it like it's hanging. Why not, right? Maybe we could put a bow on it. Yes, no, no. A ribbon. All right, my friends, we have gone through this entire video. At this point, I have no idea how long it has been. Some of it has been real time, some of it has been sped up. Hopefully, you've been able to keep up with the video and follow it as I've gone along through testing this art kit. So we are finally at the review point for the Miya Himi 36 count solid watercolor little kit, a watercolor kit. So you get the palette, and of course, you know, you got the block of paper, you got a swatch sheet, a water brush, a fine liner, a HB pencil, a 2B pencil, a number 4 round Himi synthetic Teflon brush, and a vinyl eraser. So all of that came in the box for the set. So we'll look at that in a second. So let's just talk about everything that was in the box. Okay, so I didn't test the water brush, mainly because water brushes are water brushes. I have so many of these. They all pretty much work predominantly the same. This one is just your standard little run-of-the-mill water brush, nothing necessarily special about it. And it did have sort of a longer, like number 2 round head on it. You also got the vinyl eraser, which we did use, as you saw in the video. It erased pretty well. It did really well on the paper that came in the pack. You know, standard vinyl eraser. You can get these from the Dollar Tree as well, just so you guys know. We had the HB pencil, which I didn't use. It is dome, but the lid did seem to be centered. And the same thing for the 2B pencil, which is dome. The lid did seem to be centered. It sharpened well, and the lid was pretty centered from the sharpening because I got pretty even sharpening all around those. As I told you earlier, they do contain UPC codes with the indication that they are possibly able to be purchased open stock or will be at some point in the future. But for all intents and purposes, really nice, straightforward, cute little pencils, and it's balanced well, and it actually performed well. Didn't have any issues drawing with it or erasing the pencil. So, you know, standard things are in a set, really nice. As far as the brush goes, like I said, it's about a number 4 round. This is a Himi brush. It's a synthetic white Teflon. Really nice brush. I used it for the majority of the painting, and for this particular size paper, you know, this was a really nice brush, especially for detailing. It holds a really nice point. None of the bristles shedded out of the brush while I was using it. I don't have any qualms or any problems with the brush. I will probably use it and grab it several different times. It kind of puts me in the mind of unlike those Pago synthetic brushes I have, or maybe even the Aim High art brushes that I have. They all perform similarly. So nice brush, nice pencils, pretty decent eraser. It also came with a fine line marker in it. Now this is a pigment liner 0.05. I did use it in the painting demo. Really nice balance, had really nice response to it. The nib was really flexible. I didn't have any issues creating like thinner lines and getting as thick of a line as you can with this particular one by pressing down. Really nice, consistent ink flow. Didn't have any issues with that. Seems to be really juicy. Now the bottom of the barrel does seem to screw off. I haven't actually tried to pull that out. Not exactly sure if you can refill or replace the padding in that pen, but nice pen. Don't know if it's waterproof. You know, we never actually checked that out. Let's test that really quickly. Let's see. We'll just do it on the back of the swatch sheet here, and we'll just do a little block of color there. And then we'll grab, let's see, a little water, and we will just see if we can. It moves a very little bit, little ghosting. I think that maybe because I didn't give it time to dry. So not necessarily a water soluble pen at all. So that's that. Nice pen. I would probably buy a pack of those if they sold them in the pack. It's a pretty nice fine line. I'm gonna throw it in the box with my other fine liners, which I have a little collection here, you guys know. I started this collection of fine liners and black liners back with Inktober, and I've just been adding to it as I get other liners. So that's just gonna go in there. The kit also came with 100% wood pulp, 140-pound cold press acid-free paper. This is really nice paper. This is about 5x7. This is a really nice paper. This is a block. It's bound on all 4 sides. I will say that it held up really well to the little sample painting that we did. I used the credit card scraper on it. It didn't peel at all with that. I used the vinyl eraser on it during the drawing process to erase a few mistakes. It didn't peel. It didn't lose any of its sizing from the erasing. So I'd say this is a pretty nice block, and this is something else that I would buy individually. I like this paper. I really, really do. I'm actually going to go look and see if I can find and I'm assuming it says Miya Himi, as I was telling you guys at the very beginning of this video. But I'm going to look for this block on Amazon and see if I can find it in bigger sizes, because I actually like the paper. I think this is a pretty cool wood pulp paper. It performed really well, especially with these paints. I'm gonna have to try it with some other things, but I wasn't disappointed. So those are all of the additions that came in the pack to the watercolor kit. So now let's take a look again at the watercolors. If you guys remember, it comes in this really cute little flat palette that has like the comic book strip artwork on the top. Really nice. You just press the little hinge in order to open the lid. I finally got the hang of that. And as you can see, we have been painting with the palette. Now, for all intents and purposes, pretty decent paints. I told you guys when I originally opened this that the palettes right off from first impressions kind of put me in the mind of superior paints. But after having a chance to paint with these and play around and swatch and do a sample demo, do some mixing, I'm going to retract that statement, and I'm going to say that I do not believe that these are superior paints. Now, as to who they are, I have no idea who makes them, but definitely not superior paints, because I really don't believe that the paints are clean enough or are as transparent as they should be with what I'm used to from a superior brand product. As you can see, the paint chipped here. I didn't get much chip in any of the rest of them that I used, but for some reason the orange did chip. And the only time I really used that orange was for swatching. I didn't even use it in the sample painting. So just something to keep in mind. Didn't crack or chip bad, and that was the only one. So hopefully once it's wet again, it'll dry down and I won't have any issues with it. Do have some room in here to keep some brushes for traveling if you just want to take this palette with you, and plenty of mixing room. I like the palette. I like the palette. The palette is cool. Even once the paints are gone, I'm more than likely going to be refilling those wells in order to paint from it, because I really do like this palette. And the paints aren't too bad. They aren't too bad. I really will reach for them in craft situations. So let's take a look at the quality of the paint right quick. So you guys saw the swatch sheets. Now let's just talk about them. So in swatching these, they were pretty consistent. Now the paint do not have any odors to them that I could tell, so you won't have an issue if you're odor sensitive. As I did tell you, the paint, one of those paints cracked, but for the most part, they do not crack. I'll tell you something else I noticed. There was not a huge shift from wet to dry. The color saturation didn't fade much at all. Now, of course, these are some really economical and affordable budget paints. So they do have opacifiers in them. They do have fillers in them, and you can tell. Now here I swatched the paints on mixed media paper, because that's one of the papers that I paint with on a very regular basis. Now, upon swatching here, we got pretty flat washes. The paints didn't have much character to them. Now, of course, we know there are no pigment information. There is no pigment information included with this set. So I can't really tell you about the pigment quality. What I can tell you is that the saturation and the color payoff was really, really good for a budget style paint. I like the way that they perform on the mixed media paper from the looks of it. I like the wash consistency you can get, and they do look like they will take well for like adding color pencil, chalk pastel, or something of that on top of them in order to enhance it if you're doing like mixed media painting. Now here I swatched the paints on 140-pound cold press acid-free watercolor paper. This is Grumbacher, which is what I normally swatch all of my budget and student grade paints on. And here you're going to see that the paints carried a little bit of a texture. I really believe that's from the paper and not from the paints, because I didn't get texture here on this mixed media paper, which isn't sized as much and doesn't have as much roughness or texture to the surface as the watercolor paper did. I did go ahead and do some glazing in order to see what would happen. Now, with the glazing these paints, you do get a buildup of color saturation. They will become more deep and more vibrant in color. The issue that I was experiencing, though, is that because they do have fillers and opacifiers, that they tend to get a little cloudy, like really opaque the more you layer them up. And of course, that leads me to believe that a lot of these are probably multi-pigment. So they will probably lend to muddy mixes if you had to do too much mixing. However, we're talking about 36 colors. You do have a split primary palette in there, but a lot of them are convenience colors, so you don't have to do a lot of mixing. However, if you had to mix, you could. So let's take a look here. I did a split primary mixing palette where I used, I used the deep red, which is the more cooler of the reds that is in this set. The rose is a cooler color, but it leans more so towards pink. So I used the deep red as the primary red. I used the lemon yellow as the primary yellow. And then I used what they're calling ultramarine, which I guess for what is to be said, it is an ultramarine color, not the strongest ultramarine, definitely not the best ultramarine. And as far as I'm concerned, in my painting style, if I'm going to paint with the paint set, it really needs a strong ultramarine, because I rely on ultramarine, the true red, and the lemon yellow in every set I use a lot. You can get some cool mixtures with these though. So like I used the deep red and the ultramarine, gave me a pretty nice and decent violet here, although you do get 3 in the palette. And this color is not, or it does lean a little bit close to the original violet. It has a little bit darker hue to it, so you are mixing a different shade of purple violet. Here, the lemon yellow and the deep red gave me a really bright and nice and vibrant orange. It's actually the orange, one of the oranges that's included in the set. And I'll tell you something else I started to realize. As I was going through the swatch sheet, writing down the names, I noticed that the names for the Himi watercolor set is cross-compatible with the names from the Himi gouache set. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. Let's finish this up. So here I used the ultramarine and the lemon yellow and was able to get a really nice green. And I'll be honest, it's not really similar to any of the greens that came in the color. Not that this palette lacks greens at all, because there are a lot of convenient greens in here. Actually more than I normally see in a palette. You get a really nice range of blues, a really nice range of yellows and reds. So for all intents and purposes, the color payoff and the color range is really nice. I mean, again, always keep it in the back of your mind that you do not have light, fast, or pigment information, and that this is a budget set. I will say this though, of all the budget sets, and Lord knows I've tried a many on this channel, this is actually one of the better ones. I was thoroughly surprised. Now, don't get me wrong, this is nowhere near a professional paint. I wouldn't even put it on the same level as a legacy brand student grade paint, like for instance Winsor & Newton Cotman, or even the Lucas Studio brand of watercolor paints. However, I do believe that this is a nice paint. If I had to just put it on a level of anything, I would probably compare it to like Sakura Koi paints. That's sort of the feel that they give me when you're painting with them. Let me show you what I meant by the Himi gouache really quickly before we take a final look at what we did. So if you guys remember, I've reviewed this set on the channel before, and this is also the set of paints that is being used for the gouache course, which is going to come out sooner or later, hopefully sooner than later. But here's a little swatch sheet, and let's just compare the Himi gouache colors to the watercolors here. So we got lemon yellow, which is literally the same color. Medium yellow, again, the same color. Punchu, that orangey red, really pretty. You have rose here. Now the rose here is not as, it's more pinky than the rose in the watercolor set, but then the peach blossom in the watercolor set resembles the rose in the gouache set really closely to me. Deep red, exact same color. You got pale green, grass green. Now there is no grass green in the watercolor set, and in all honesty, the closest to that green is probably going to be the medium green. You have jade green here, which is exactly the same as the deep green in the watercolor set. Acid blue, ultramarine, which in all honesty, I like the ultramarine in the gouache set a lot better than in the watercolor set. Let's see. You have Prussian blue, violet, literally every single color that is in the gouache set is also in the watercolor set. You have earth yellow here, ochre. In this set, the ochre is gonna be sienna, in between sienna and burnt umber. Well, you have a burnt umber, but the burnt umber in the gouache set is earthier than the burnt umber in the watercolor set. It seems to be more pigmented. I'll definitely say that the gouache pigments were stronger, not to say that the watercolor pigments are weak at all, than black and black. So just a little cross reference between the watercolors and the gouache. So you can use both of those sets together if you have them. And there'll probably be a mixed media video coming up really soon where I'm going to be using the watercolors and the gouache together, especially since they literally have symmetrical cross compatible colors like that. Really cool. Really cool. So did a salt test. The paints reacted really well to salt, as most paints normally do. Here I was able to use all three of those primaries that I use in order to mix a really nice gray black. And it's a little bit cooler maybe than the black that comes in the actual set. And of course, you know, you can mix black from like your red and your green, your ultramarine and your burnt sienna. So there are a lot of different ways to mix a gray black tone in the set other than using the black, which is typically gonna, depending on the situation you use it in, may leave your composition a little dead looking. So let's go ahead and do this, what do we call this thing? This lift test really quickly. And let me see if I have, let me grab that towel I had. And we're just gonna, and I wrote here very little flow because as I was doing the little circle for the lift test, I was actually testing the flow of the paints. And yeah, they definitely don't flow at all. They don't have, and they're gonna stay where you put them. It's a controlled paint. But you know, there's benefits to everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just dab that up. Now see that we can definitely lift the paints to get back to the white of the paper without any issues. So paints are lift. All right, so let's move on and take a look at the sample painting that we did in this video. So here we made a little Christmas card, and I think it came out really nice. I love it. I think it's really cute. Now this is just the front of one. I'm going to actually have to take this to a pre-made card. But yeah, that's all I have to do. Literally just take this to the pre-made card. I may ink the outside of the card with black before I actually put it down. But really straightforward, really cute. And I think this is going to be another one of the Christmas cards that I produced to sell in my Etsy shop alongside the Christmas card we made earlier on the channel, maybe a couple of videos back if you guys remember. So both of these will be reproduced and so on the Etsy shop. I may actually sell them in bundles or like boxes of 12 or something. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. That's how the I think it came out nice. Okay, so do I like the paints? I think they're cool. I don't have any qualms with them. Of course, we're not talking about a professional paint here. This is definitely a budget grade paint, but considering what you get, I think that it is actually a really good buy. So I ordered the paints off of Amazon. I got them in like a day. It was like next day delivery. The paints are currently on sale for $15.99. They're actually on a Cyber Monday deal at the point that this video is being taped for upload. They're gonna normally run between $12 and $15. I think I paid cheaper than $15.99. I think the Black Friday deal that I bought them on may have been $13, but what have you, you're gonna definitely get the paints for less than $20. So for less than $20, 36 colors, rich and pigmented. Yeah, they have a few opacifiers in them, and you don't get chalk though. They're not chalky. They're not chalky. They won't rub off. They're really pigmented. I mean, you're going to get really bright color payoff. Just keep in mind that you don't have pigment information. You don't have light fast information. So I would definitely suggest them for the realm of beginners, something in this area like card making and crafting. If you're going to be doing sketchbook work, they may work really well for outside painting. That's a really nice durable palette, and that paint won't fall out. So, you know, good beginner set, good stocking stuffer set, maybe a good travel set for your experienced artist. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you heard something in this video that you like as we reviewed the Miya Himi 36 count square watercolor kit. I think that it's a pretty good way to get started. You're going to get nice paints. You're going to get, I think, really good quality paper, a good quality fine liner, some nice pencils to draw with. You're going to get an eraser that works, a number 4 round brush that is actually pretty good as far as synthetic brushes go. And then you get your standard water barrel water brush. And you're going to get all of this for under $20. So I don't believe that's a bad buy. Now, if you have stuff that works already, then of course I say don't run out and buy it. But if you're looking to get started in painting, go for it. If you're looking for something to do your crafting and your card making with, I say go for it. I think it's definitely a payoff. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can get other content when it comes up. Use the comment section for any questions you have. I will happily get back to them as soon as I possibly can, and or let me know what you think of the paint set. What do you guys think of the whole art set or art kit video series? I think I'm going to continue to add to them and continue to do them. I really like them. So just let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Don't forget to follow us on the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page, Instagram page. You can also follow us on YouTube. Keep in mind that in the video description, there is a link for the Facebook group for this channel, guys. Yes. Join the Facebook group. Nice, respectable place for artists to meet and grow and learn together. And that's also going to be where we have information for the upcoming contest and giveaways and things that we're going to have. So you're going to have to join that group if you're planning on winning anything in the future. And just remember, please have respect for all other artists, because I will boot you out of the group with all the love in my heart for disrespecting somebody else. Let's see, don't forget at the very bottom of the video, there's a video description, there's also a link for my most recommended products. And I actually think that this particular art set may make that list because I do feel like it's a really good place to begin if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you don't just want a crappy paint set. Let me see, am I forgetting anything? I don't think that I am. Keep a lookout for the gouache course coming up and information on that. And remember, as I tell you guys at the end of every single video, just keep painting.